Hello, everyone, and welcome to Flatcap Talk. And yet again, another weekend watch list. The international break, just for me, just went on way too long. And so I do have to break down a weekend watch list. I'm so excited for the football to come back. And I am going to be joined by a very, very, very special guest of not only this army, the Flatcap Army, but also the Harris Army. It is going to be CHAMOO, CHAMOO Van Spurs, as you maybe know him quite well. CHAMOO, how you keeping, brother?
Yeah, keeping a good head. Just glad that the international breaks over and we get back to some actual football. Praise the Lord.
Definitely so. Definitely so. Actually, to a degree, I mean, the international football, me personally, not really biggest fan of the U.S. squad, and not really to a degree biggest fan of really any squad, really in particular. So it is kind of a bit of a dead period for me. But might as well then just crack into my picks for the weekend watch list. But since now I'm being joined by CHAMOO, I can kind of bounce off him a bit more. I can also as well, be able to at the end of this list, maybe talk to CHAMOO and maybe figure out which ones I might have missed in particular for this weekend watch list. But we are going to be starting with Leicester City, Man United. I feel like we don't have to dwell on this one too much. It is, Leicester City, a team where they're actually kind of desperate for points, you might say, maybe even to a degree, two managers that I maybe under different kind of I would say maybe ounces of pressure, you might say, where Brendan Rodgers is just to a degree having reverse Brendan Rodgers syndrome, and he's in fact struggling to start the season strong when usually he starts the season strong and kind of ends it kind of poorly, and maybe this time around might be the opposite, where with Ole Gunnar Shoeshine or Solskjaer, excuse me, using David's term. I feel like with Ole, he's just under amounts. He's just under tons of pressure at the moment. But, if you were to give a prediction for this one, with Leicester City at home on Saturday, CHAMOO, I mean, how do you see this one ending up?
Just probably Ronaldo will start, and just purely because Ronaldo's in there, I think he's going to turn up. He's their big time player. He knows how to turn up, and I think Sue's going to turn up for them. And I don't know, just hard to turn down their team when you look at their team on paper. It's full world class players. For me, is
Yeah,
but in saying
very,
that,
very true.
Leicester have the good youth squad, and they have a good recruitment system, so that they always seem to find the good players.
Yeah, they do. They do certainly, and also it seems like the cat's in a bit of approval as that as well. So a lot of people definitely, I know there are a lot of cat lovers in the building, so they definitely will probably be liking that one as well. But honestly, me personally, I think that's a great job, Jamu. I think that's good analysis there. I'd like to think that Leicester City might, pull out this one and maybe another kind of Ole upset. I'm going to see actually maybe a 1-1. Might be a bit of a dull
Yeah,
game to a degree. I could see a 1-1 being potential, but, what would be your score line just to finish it?
maybe 2-1 or even a 3-2. I reckon there could be goals in this one
Yeah,
because
maybe a
Varane,
much
I think
better
he's
game
out
than I'm
injured, so I think
anticipating.
they might have to bring maybe Lindelof in, or maybe Eric Bailly if he's fit. I don't know if he seems to injure himself just walking, so you
Great
never know about that
analysis.
guy.
Great analysis because yeah, they are going to be without Rafael Varane and Harry Maguire. But moving on to the next one, Leverkusen and Bayern here. Bayern just coming off of that upset with Eintracht Frankfurt. Weirdly, I don't really feel like CHAMOO, that I don't know if that defeat really said a whole lot about Bayern. I think it was just more credit to Kevin Trapp, who just was performing world class save after world class save, and just maybe Bayern's finishing ability just wasn't really up to par that match. And then it just felt like Eintracht Frankfurt, they were desperate for the points, and they just kind of went for a big old snatch and grab. Do I see Leverkusen, with the likes of, Moussa Diaby, Florian Wirtz, and Patrick Schick, a very formidable front line, you must admit, being able to get something out of this potentially, and maybe at home as well. But I feel like Bayern historically have always done quite well against Leverkusen, and maybe rolling off of the back of that defeat before the international break, I feel like they're going to be kind of not letting anything slip by them for this one. I'm going to go for maybe something like a might be a bit of a demolition job. I might go for like a 3-1 or a 4-1 actually to Bayern. Unfortunately, how do you see this one happening? Maybe I could be wrong.
Yeah, I was gonna get along the same lines as you. I was gonna go for a 3-0, but it depends if Leverkusen decide to, if they turn up and Bayern aren't on their game. I could see it being maybe a high scoring draw or something like that. That's the well, I don't know. I can't see Bayern losing again. I can just see maybe Bayern slipping off a bit and Leverkusen just being on their game and getting a draw out of it or something like that.
Mm.
But I really see Bayern winning. But that's the other thing I might see happening.
Yeah, I think we're kind of in agreement there. So I might just say, everybody who does want maybe a bit of a good neutral game, I would say this one is definitely up there. That's why I even put it ahead of Leicester City Man United match. Apart from maybe the goals, being, potentially at play for that Leverkusen Man United match, I feel like, as always, the Bundesliga, it's not really known for its defending at times. So it's always a great, it's always a great league, maybe for the neutrals if you want to see goals coming in.
Yeah,
Barcelona Valencia, I've gone for with this one. I think it's more just having to do with the fact that Barcelona are on free fall right now, and that to a degree, in my opinion, as much as I don't rate Ronald Koeman, CHAMOO, I think it just has to do with obviously what's gone on at Barcelona. It's just not, really just there's not a good morale there at the moment, either from the fans, from the players, from the club in general. And whereas Valencia are actually to a degree having a great season and kind of climbing up in the table and potentially might be going for a Champions League spot this season, which I think for Valencia is a success every season if they can reach Champions League, especially with the way they've been run, kind of recently, which has not been too well. I feel like this could be a really interesting one, especially if Barcelona were to drop points again this season, and to the likes of Valencia, who've been a very formidable side. I might go for. I kind of don't like Barcelona personally. I'm just not. I'm more of a Madrid man myself. So I'm gonna go for like maybe a 2-1 loss or a 1-2 loss for Barcelona here. How do you see this unfolding?
I might just back the home team on this one,
Yeah,
just to go against you here, Texas. So we got a
yeah,
bit of a
good
different thing.
shout.
I just think Barcelona at home they might just scrape it out. Against they seem to just pull out results here and there against teams, and this might just be one of them for me. After the
Mm.
international break, they might just catch Valencia out, or they might just catch a break. I think this game might do it for them, but I don't see them having a good season,
And at the
especially
moment,
with
I
their
mean,
fans.
Memphis Depay cannot
Crazy.
be stopped. I mean, regardless of form, that man cannot be stopped, especially in La Liga. So, to a degree, would you feel like,
Yeah,
let's
exactly.
say there
They
would
got
be
a
another
lot of
defeat
good
for
players.
Barcelona? If there were to be another defeat for Barcelona, would you say Ronald Koeman, you know, could you see him being sacked, or would they still give him a bit more time?
It just depends on who they have as a replacement because they wouldn't
Yeah,
sack him without a replacement. They see he's a club legend. He used to play there, so I can't see them kind of treating him harshly. Or if
disrespecting
they
him.
did, it would have to be like a 4-0 loss and people throwing bottles at him and stuff like that maybe. But I think he's treading on eggshells. Put it that way. The players will be coming out at his face at the press conference from the Barca fans.
Yeah, they might be throwing the chorizo on the pitch for this one if they're not
Yeah,
happy. But moving on, Everton and West Ham here. I feel like this could potentially be maybe the number one match. I really feel like if anybody's been paying attention to the Premier League this season, these are two very quality sides. Potentially, it could be kind of I don't know, maybe a stalemate to a degree, because these two teams are so strong defensively this season. But at the same time, Everton, kind of gone against, maybe that, reputation as being a strong defensive side. And especially under Rafa Benitez, who's known as being a strong defensive manager, they've actually created, I think, some of the most chances in the entire Premier League this season, Everton. And to a degree, I feel like they're kind of a force to be reckoned with. Whereas West Ham, they're kind of building off of the momentum of last season. They somehow are sitting below Spurs at the moment, but I feel like maybe that has to do with potentially a slightly tougher schedule. But as well, though, I would say with West Ham, they probably need to gain some points back if they really want to challenge again for any sort of European spot. I feel like this is just going to be a great clash between two teams that are clearly trying to get some sort of remarkable kind of position in this season. I mean, Everton, West Ham. I might go for an Everton win here. Maybe a bit of a Rafa Benitez masterclass yet again. I'm going to go 2-1 actually to Everton. How would you see this unfolding?
I think it's as a case as for the two teams. They're a lot similar. They've both got strong midfields and they've both got a strong attack with a good striker up top. So it's just a case of who's going to turn up on who's going to basically be boxed out, and because it's a lot.
Yeah,
The teams are a lot similar. They've got the strong midfielders like Suchek, and then you've got Decore. They're very similar players, so it'll be interesting battle there. And then for the strikers, you've got Antonio and then Calvert Lewin. Both they're both good for their team, so they're very similar in terms of where their expectations kind of lie and stuff like that
right.
in the league. They're very similar kind of teams, and just West Ham obviously have a better standing in the league, and they've got European football, but Everton should be there really with the squad and the manager. That's where they want to be. So it's quite a good clash there.
Yeah, quite a good clash. And personally, I might go for this one as number one. I'm actually really, looking forward to this one. I definitely will be watching it after the Spurs match, especially, maybe post win, against Newcastle, just kind of ride it out into a match like this. So really looking forward to this
I'm going
one.
to go
But
2-1 Everton. I forgot to give my predictions. I'll say 2-1 Everton.
2-1 Everton as
It'll
well.
be a
I
good
kind of
game.
I
Yeah,
agree
I'll
with
say
that one.
2-1.
And maybe just quickly, Damari Gray. I mean, to with Damari Gray, I find it kind of funny that a lot of people are saying, that we should have gone for Damari Gray. We should have gone for Damari Gray. In my opinion, that there's a reason the guy only moved over from Leverkusen for around £2 million, and there's a reason why Leicester City got rid of him. It was because the guy was not showing any form whatsoever. He, to a degree, wasn't really being rated by anybody. You might say Everton took a bit of a chance on him by bringing him back to the Premier League and letting him back into the side, and he's taken it by storm. And credit to him, very happy for him. But what do you make of maybe this Rafa Benitez masterclass of relying on the likes of Damari Gray and Solomon Rondon, who, in my opinion, one of the greatest strikers of all time, hipsterly. But, what do you make of maybe just Everton? I mean, they're not really a team that's full of stars, yet they're playing so well.
I think it's just the manager's experience. He's been in a lot of clubs and he's played in the highest, Champions Leagues and stuff like that. So he's been there and done it all. He's got the experience and he obviously knows how to manage these players who aren't world class, but have had the skill and the tech is to, play football as a team. So he's obviously got them working as a unit. That's what these world class managers seem to do with these middle tier teams and stuff like that. They seem to, like David Moyes with West Ham, they seem to just get them working as a unit and basically unstoppable because you got 10 versus, all the whole team versus, if you've got a couple of people in the other team performing, this is not going to matter because you got the whole team coming at you as one. So I think that's what they seem to do really well. They seem to just get the whole team believing in their system and doing it well.
You go. Yeah, really well said, actually. Well said. And just as a reminder, just because I forgot, you can find the Bundesliga on ESPN Plus in the US and Sky Sports in the UK. You can find the Serie A on Paramount Plus and on Serie A. You can also find it for BT Sport as well. And then for La Liga, you can find it on ESPN Plus in the USA and on some sort of Amazon package in the UK. But moving on to my number one pick, it is going to be Lazio against Inter Milan. It is going to be Maurizio Sarri against the very formidable Inzaghi at the moment, Simone Inzaghi, who's, I mean, Inter Milan have been a spectacular team to watch, not only for defensive football, but also for attacking football. And for Lazio, they've just been a spectacular attacking side, as we all know, with Sarri ball. Lazio weirdly came off of that 3-0 defeat, to Bologna, but then before that though, they defeated Jose, in the Roma derby, or in the Rome derby, excuse me, 3-2. So I just feel like this is the reason it's number one is because, of course, we're kind of coming from a neutral perspective on it, and I just feel like they really could be a fascinating game to watch. I actually expect goals for this one. How do you see it unfolding?
I expect goals too. They're just Surrey ball, and you've got the former coach of Lazio, Inzaghi. So it's he'll want to get one over his old team, and Sarri won't want to lose.
Right.
They want to catch points on the top teams. So it's just two epic managers going at it really, and both squads are quite good. I think it just might be Europe that's catching up on Lazio and their squad depth. Maybe that's catching up on them. They don't have the players to carry through both games because probably a lot of their first team is also playing in Europe. Probably, I assume.
Yeah. And I also feel like in the Serie A has been actually, in particular, actually the best league this season. Not even kidding. I feel like there's so much rivalry up at the top. To a degree, most of the teams are kind of even with each other in comparison to the Premier League, where it is a bit kind of stratified. And then as well, Lazio and Lazio, Roma, Inter Milan, Juve. The list goes on. They're all kind of, to a degree, quite equal with each other for some reasons, and I just
Milan
feel
will be
like
up there, I
it's
assume, as well.
spectacular. It's for goals as well. It's just been spectacular. It's almost been the opposite of La Liga, actually, the Serie A this season. But CHAMOO, now maybe I can move on to you. I mean, what in particular, maybe have I missed, like maybe what games should maybe the Flatcap Army as well as the Harris Army should keep an eye on?
Just my quick little games for the weekend. I've got a championship derby. That's never a league to sniff at, especially a derby match. Fulham
Right.
versus QPR, fifth versus six. So that's always good. Fulham unbeaten in their last five. That's just 3 wins and drawing 2. And they've got
Scott
Mitrovic as well.
Parker.
He's the top scorer in the league. And then as for QPR, they've won the most games, 20, most points, 65, and scored the most goals, 59, out of any championship team in 2021, excluding the playoffs. So they know how to score goals, and they've got a centre back called Rob Dickey. He seems to be scoring goals for QPR. He's up there for one of the main scorers this year, and he's a centre back. So always good seeing a goal scoring centre back in there. And that one's at Craven Cottage.
Yeah.
So the next one I've got, get your croissants out. We're going to League. Oh, it's Lyon versus Monaco. Lyon have lost once in their last 7, and that was against PSG. So they're on reasonably good form.
Yeah.
And that 73% away record for Monaco as well, 11 out of 15. So they're on quite good form. So they're coming to a good team who know how to travel. And the players to look out for there for me are Aouar and then Chouamini, who's been
Yeah.
selected for the French team. So he's just a young midfielder. I'd never sniff at seeing good young midfielders in the team. I kind of prefer that these days to
Correct.
strikers. It's a bit more classy seeing a nice midfielder. Put a shoulder past the defender and beat them and stuff like that. It's just a bit nicer than seeing a striker these days. And then for my last one, I'm just going to go Serie A and go Juve versus Roma. That's Massimiliano Allegri versus Jose. So we always want to see Jose lose. And Juve going for 4 in a row. They're down in 7th, and if they manage to beat Roma, then they'll go 4 points off. So they're close between 4th and 7th. So that's good. And Juve looking for consecutive victories over Roma for the first time since 2016. So they seem to
Well,
struggle to get 2 over them as well. So that could be an
interesting.
interesting one there, because they seem to struggle to get the double over Roma.
Yeah, that's a great
And
factoid.
it's
And
at the Juve ground as well. So everyone will be booing Jose. That's always a good
yeah,
time. He'll get under his skin. They know how to do that. The old Italians.
they definitely do. They definitely do. And I feel like just to recap that, with QPR Fulham, I feel like that's a fantastic shout, especially to any of the championship lovers. There are a lot of QPR fans in the world, as well as, Fulham fans. So I think they're all well aware of that. And I think it's good that we gave that a bit of recognition thanks to CHAMOO. And then again, Leon, in Monaco, Niko Kovac against Petr Bosz. Petr Bosz is, one of the worst defensive managers in world football, but at the same time, one of the best ones going forward. And then Niko Kovac, more or less, you could kind of say the same, actually. So maybe you expect goals in that one. And then as well, then moving on to Juve and Roma, especially maybe up north in northern Italy, you might say, it could be a very interesting one, maybe where, Jose might be caught out in the cold against Juve. And Juve are desperate for points. I mean, they need the points to, challenge for the top, especially with an undefeated Napoli at the moment. I mean, there's only catching up to them. And if they were to drop points again, I mean, that would be rough.
Yeah, they would just come up from being in 12th. I remember last, and they just won the other week. So that they're not doing well. And they're in 7th at the moment, so they really need to get the points. But there's only 4 points between 4th and 7th, so that just shows you how tight Serie A is at the moment.
Certainly is very tight. But that is our weekend watch list, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thanks to CHAMOO, now we have 8 picks actually for this one. So hopefully you were able to write all those down, and hopefully you were able to maybe find some time in your weekend to catch any of these, especially after maybe a good Spurs match on Sunday. But that'll be all for now for Flatcap Army and for the Flatcap Talk channel. We will be releasing this tomorrow on Friday in the morning, bright and early for you. But that'll be all for now. And CHAMOO, I'll be seeing you.